Asia. We're talking about organized crime in the Asia Pacific, and our guests for this extraordinary program this afternoon, Mr. Charlie Goodwin, the former special agent in charge of the FBI here in Honolulu, and Mr. Grant Newsham, a former U.S. diplomat with the embassy, our embassy in Tokyo. Right at the break, we were talking about following organized crime up the triads, up the chain, if you will, in China. And gentlemen, next I want to show you a photograph of Bo Xilai, the recent member of the Politburo that fell from grace. There was a trial, as you recall. And so we could see that photo next. All right. What do we have here? We have a former mayor of major city in Western China that cracked down on corruption, brought some justice officials in, but he himself brought up on rather light charges of corruption in terms of money taken. What's your take on this thing, Grant?
I don't think it indicates a sea change in attitudes towards corruption in China. It strikes me as one gang moving in to take over another one. The Chinese have been shooting people every year for years to try and get a handle on corruption, and it seems to have no effect at all. One notices the crackdown on New York Times and Bloomberg when they reported on the fabulous wealth of certain Chinese leaders. I just don't see this as a sea change. Others may differ, but I don't see it.
Charlie, what about you? Any thoughts?
Probably, again, like window dressing. I don't think there is, you know, in the United States, the Department of Justice, the FBI, major city police departments they've had an interest in stamping out organized crime. And their involvement in the rackets, racketeering, extortion, bribery, all of those things, the public corruption. I don't sense that that's a high priority. We've pointed out and spoken about how government and organized crime in China, Japan, Korea kind of intertwines, and it's not really thought of as really organized crime as much as it is an organization that can be helpful and get things done. And we in the United States don't see organized crime in that light, largely because of the history of organized crime here. It's never been of a particular benefit here in this country, although arguably, you know, at the turn of the century during Prohibition and that sort of thing, and clearly today, organized crime continues to play a big role in the economy, even in the United States. If you look at the labor unions and that sort of thing, particularly in cities like New York, Boston, Chicago, huge influence on politics and the economy in those places.
Yeah, and one notes that in a country like China, for example, where you don't have rule of law, you don't have property rights, you don't have investigative press or really anyone who digs into corruption on public behalf. It just comes out by random or in one faction going after another one. It's very hard to really get a handle on, assuming anyone wanted to.
I was going to say, there's really not the will there to change that. People are getting what they want from who they want.
There's a smash and grab mentality as well with both the triads and in China. And
smash and grab.
It's to get what you can, get it out of the country somewhere safe. And as someone from Boston said after the latest public scandal appeared in Boston, he says, it's the culture.
It's the culture.
And that's pretty much what it is, as I see it.